Hello again. Today is Thursday. What is the date? The 14th. I left you off in the last vlog with the unfortunate news that I had not in fact written in an entire week, and I'm here to report that I still unfortunately have not written since that last writing update. Hence why I am working on crochet things at the moment. Like I said, the schedule that I had sort of like started working with, where I would do all of my writing in the morning, get that done, and then move on to whatever else I needed to do for the day, whether that was crochet or household things or whatever. It just wasn't giving me enough time to reach the inventory goals that I had set for myself for the market that I have upcoming tomorrow, actually. And so in order to stay on top of that and actually have the inventory that I need for that market, which is a need because I have to be able to make my booth feedback that I've already paid for, I just started working on crochet, basically. That was mostly what I was doing like all of last week. Right now I am sewing some pumpkins together to be prepared to stuff them and then attach these little cinnamon stick stems. But this is it. This is the last little bit of crochet work that I have to do before the market. There's always more you can do. There's always more you can prep. There's always more you can make. But I'm cutting myself off after this because I came in slightly under my inventory goal actually, but it's enough that I still am like, okay, this is fine. I don't want to be stressing myself out for the rest of the day and tomorrow. I have other things I need to do, like I have items that I need to price and I need to get packed up and all of that sort of stuff. So there's other things to do and I need to do those things instead. And also the good thing about doing markets is I can actually crochet while I'm at the market too. So I can get some other stuff made while I'm sitting there manning my booth as well. But part of me cutting myself off today means that I'm writing today. Whether my stupid schedule likes it or not, I'm writing today because I'm tired of not writing. I'm annoyed that I haven't written in a week and a half, almost 2 weeks now. It's life, you know, it happens, but I am so into this story and I was so into the flow. Like I had such good momentum going. It was just frustrating to have to stop for reasons that had nothing to do with my motivation. It was just all practical stuff. So I'm putting my foot down and I'm doing some writing today. This does make me a bit nervous about if I'm going to be able to reach my writing goals for the month. Like I said, I wanted to reach 39,000 words in this draft by the end of the month, and I'm still only at 13. That's, let me do math, that's like 26,000 more to go. And I have 2 weeks left, which is 13,000 words each week, which is, if I write every single day, okay, if I write every day that I have available in September for the rest of the month, that's 2,166 words a day. So we're pushing the limits. We're pushing the limits of what I'm capable of doing in a single day. I'm actually not even sure if that will be necessary because I have been underwriting this draft so far, and I might not even need 39,000 words to get to the end, which obviously is not good in terms of like the book itself being paced and structured well, because it's absolutely not at the moment. But that is good in terms of just like getting a first draft out there into the world. And then I can revise and make it longer, better later, which will involve giving it better pacing and structure and all of that sort of stuff. So that is where I'm at right now. I'm going to finish up with these stupid pumpkins. These things are driving me crazy. I love them. They're adorable. I love them so much, but they're driving me crazy. I'm gonna finish up with these and then finally, I will write today. I promise you, I will be writing today. Period, end of story. Okay, I have something to admit, and that is that yesterday I stayed up writing. However, it was not on Project Game. Granted, this was a Sunday, so it's an off day for me. I don't make myself write on the weekends. And this was like at 8 p.m., 9 p.m., something like that. It was fully in my I just feel like doing this like time of day, and I stayed up for quite a while writing like 3,000 words in Project Fire. Granted, these were not like new words. I talked in my last vlog about having like a really big revelation, idea, reframing, however you want to call that, for the beginning of Project Fire. And so I was basically just rewriting the first chapter because that was where a major change took place. I was moving something up to happen a lot sooner. So yeah, I was writing Project Fire. I'm sorry, okay? It was fun. I had a good time. We got it out of our system, and now I can be like, okay, that's sitting there ready for me whenever I have free time, but my main focus during the week is still gonna be Project Game. This week I am very excited because I'm finally going to be able to start working on Project Game again. I'm still kind of hovering around the midpoint from where I left off in the last vlog, so I'm hoping that I can pick up the momentum again and just get stuff going to be able to finish this by the end of the month. So there's not much to update you on that front. I just wanted to come in and repent for what I have done in working on Project Fire instead. But now I'm gonna go work on Project Game because I need to do that part. Hello, this is quite a late update. It is currently October 24th. A fair amount of time passed my end of September deadline for completing my middle grade book. I will say I did finish the draft, and I only dipped a few days into October to do so. I'm only just now getting around to filming this update clip because soon after I finished, my husband and I went on a little road trip, which was a lot of fun. We drove up north and hit all of the New England states, specifically staying for a while in Bar Harbor, Maine to visit Acadia National Park. But we were gone for about a week doing that, and then soon after we returned, my parents actually came up to visit us from Texas. So I've been out of town, I've had company, I haven't been filming. All that to say though, yes, I did finish the first draft of my first middle grade book, which feels so good to be done anyways. It feels good as in I feel like I've accomplished something by completing the draft. How I feel about the draft is a very different story because I don't feel too great about it for, I think, a variety of reasons. One of those just being the fact that it's a zero draft, and I kind of have talked about this a little bit. Sorry, my cat's being a spaz. I've kind of talked about this a little bit in my previous videos in this series, that there just comes a point in the zero draft where you just start feeling kind of crap about it because it's not a good reflection of what is in your brain. And this is something that happens to me every time I write a zero draft. And so I know to expect this. I know this is just part of the process. Logically in my brain, all of that, like, cool, we're squared away. But emotionally, it still sucks to just not feel good about what you're writing. This is something that I know will get better with time whenever I do a revision of this draft. That's what revision is for. It's to slowly move the draft closer towards the ideal that you have for it in your head. I still love the story on like a high concept level, if that makes sense. Like, I love the idea, I love the sort of way that I've plotted it out, I love the end. In theory, I love the end. It's just in execution, I'm not a huge fan of it right now. The other thing though, as I sort of wrapped this project up that I was like stewing on a bit, is while I feel the spark for the story in terms of feeling good about that high concept level stuff, like knowing that this is a story that I need to write and it's one that I can write, and there's enough of that like sort of interest spark to carry me through the whole draft, if that makes sense. I don't know if the way that I'm describing that is fully capturing what I mean by this. There's enough of a spark that I feel towards the story that I wrote the full draft. I didn't give up halfway through. But as I sort of wrapped up and reflected on the experience as a whole, I wasn't quite feeling the same spark for this story as I do for my young adult projects. I think part of the reason for that is just because this is a new age category. It's different for me. I'm challenging myself in that way. And I'm the type of person, I'm a perfectionist at heart. Like, I have major gifted kid syndrome because I was in all of the, you know, gifted programs and like elementary school and then all the honors classes in high school and blah 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 blah, and so my self-worth is intricately tied to my ability to perform in certain tasks, and so whenever I do subpar in those tasks I feel not good about myself because I'm like, oh wow, I failed at this, does that mean that I'm worthless? We're working on it. Part of that I'm sure is just wrapped up in that whole perfectionism mindset of this is a new thing for me, I have not done it before, and so the fact that it is not super good is making me feel like it wasn't worth my time. And reminding myself of that has been sort of the thing that has helped push me through the end of this project and actually helped me get to the end, is just being like, look, you've never done this before, just get to the end and you can reflect after the fact. But now that I am at the end, while I do think that plays a factor into how I'm feeling about this story, I think there is just something different about writing middle grade than about writing young adult in terms of my enjoyment level. I really liked writing this book, but there's just something deeply emotional to me about my young adult stories that I haven't quite been able to explore in my middle grade, and I'm not sure what disconnect is there, because there are plenty of middle grades that explore like really deep emotional themes. I think I'm struggling because when I was in middle school I was reading young adult, I was not reading middle grade anymore. So when I was the age of my main character, I still had a lot of the same problems as my main character and feelings and ways of processing things. So it's not that I was more mature or anything like that. I think there's just something in my brain that associates middle school with young adult and young adult themes, if that makes sense. And so while I'm writing a middle school age character in a way that feels authentic to my experience, I also feel like I'm writing for third graders because that's when I was reading middle grade. I think the young adult genre in general has just meant so much to me growing up and been so formative for me and my reading that when I write young adult, I feel a much deeper connection to that style, that category, just the ways that you go about exploring things in that type of fiction. And so while writing this middle grade book was a lot of fun and I enjoyed it, I didn't quite feel as invested in the story, if that makes sense. I don't know where I'm going with this. I don't think that this is necessarily a statement on if I'm going to continue this project or if I'm going to continue writing middle grade. This is just my current thoughts at the end of writing my first middle grade draft. I would, I think, still like to revise this book at some point and just see where that takes me. I'm gonna shelve it for a bit just to get some distance because that's always what I need to do with my first drafts. I just need to set them away, forget what the writing is, and then come back to it at a later date so that I can see it with fresh eyes and feel it with fresh emotions too. Because I feel like half the time when I do that, I come back to a book and I'm like, oh, this is not nearly as bad as you thought it was, Leah. So I'm hoping that will happen with this one and I can come back to it maybe like in December or January or something and just have a fun revision process and then feel good about it, because I always feel so much better at the end of a revision than I do at the end of a draft. So that is all for episode 5 of my writing a middle grade series. Sorry that this update is coming so much later than the others. I really did not intend for this to happen, but that's just how it be sometimes. Let me know in the comments what you are currently working on and how that is going. Since it's the end of October and I feel like I've been hearing a lot of people start talking about NaNoWriMo. I'm not planning on doing Nano this year. I think I've come to a place where I'm like, Nano's not for me. I love the community. I'm gonna join in some live streams and just write with people to have that community aspect, but I always just feel bad about myself every time I try to write 50,000 words in a month and then can't. So we're just gonna not attempt this month and I don't know, I'll figure out what I'm working on. But for now, thank you so much for watching and I will see you again soon. Bye!